So hey there everybody, we're back in the office, different hat and actually different day. So yesterday we went out to the Solstice job site and I did a video talking through what we do on the job site each time we go out to it. This is part two, and in part two, this is where we come back into the office and we get everything set up to share with our clients. Now our end goal here, let me hit my handy dandy Chrome browser. Our end goal is to get this project into the update web page that we built for our clients. If we go point at Solstice Project, you can see we've got a lot of links here, and our last one was on May 17th, and then we just did one yesterday, which was May 28th. And if we scroll down here, we can take a look at each of the site visits, what's changed, and that's what we're gunning for here. We're going to be making a new page with the same information just updated that we do for each of the site visits. I'm going to minimize this really quick. So as I said yesterday, we've got a pattern that we use, and this is for every job site, where we'll do our ortho mosaic flights first, gather up all those JPEGs, then we'll do our video flights second for our time-lapse video, and finally we'll do our regular stills third. So we know exactly where things are broken up. So when I come back to the office and I go to offload things, pretty simple for me, right? I go grab all those ortho images, I grab the videos, and I grab the regular still images. So here we go. I'm just going to open this one up. So our ortho images are the same every single time. We've got 131 images taken at this job site. Let me arrow back here. And for the videos, normally we come out with at least 2 video reels. I did some extra flights yesterday as well, for some, interesting things to show the clients. We always do a little extra video just to give a feel for the overall place. And then after that, we've got our regular stills. These will be fed into Lightroom, and then I'll sort through those, do minor edits with those, and I'll be good to go. Now, you could say to a client, hey, we went out, we flew your site, and we've got all the images for the orthos, we've got your stills, and we've got your videos. We're not going to assemble them or anything. We're not going to give any kind of presentation. Here you go. Good luck. Let me tell you, that's a turnoff to clients. One of the big things that I have been hearing back from my clients in the past couple of months is that the venture capitalists who are investing in their projects are very interested in how we're displaying things. I've gotten comments back that we've never had deliverables like this. And I've had other questions of, are you willing to fly to Austin? Are you willing to fly to Florida? Are you willing to fly to Rancho Cucamonga at their different project sites? The builders they're working with also note the fact that they've never gotten reports like this. So that's a great thing to hear. I love hearing that from clients, that they're impressed. One of our folks actually, oh, that's right, I can't do that right now. One of the folks actually keeps calling the stuff next level. Now, I'm not going to flip over to any more of those because I do have WebODM up. So let's start in here, because one of the first things I like to do is offload all the orthos, and I like to get a look at the model. Has nothing to do with the clients or my process or anything. When I get back from the field, I do like assembling this stuff. It's a lot of fun for me. So that's a big part of doing any kind of drone business. If you're having a good time with it, all the better for you. So what we've got up here, we've got WebODM. So we utilize WebODM and Metashape. And when we're doing the before and after ortho mosaics for the clients, usually it can be one or the other. It doesn't have to be the same exact ones, but I ran yesterday's flight. I've got one task here and it's completed, and it took 12 minutes and 56 seconds. Right below that is our Solstice May 17th, so a couple weeks prior. Once again, 131 images, 12.55 seconds, or 12 minutes and 55 seconds. Bottom line, these things are off by 1 second. But what's really great here is that the final versions, if you're processing things the same time, let me see, WebODM, we set it to the default settings. All I'm after here is the ortho mosaics. Now, for those of you wondering about WebODM, I've had some comments and questions recently on other videos here on YouTube. And some folks have pointed out, hey, the point clouds aren't so great. The 3D modeling side is not so great. I do agree with you. We can get better results from other software applications. But WebODM, is basically free with a worst case scenario of spending $50 on it. It's a great place to start learning about maps and models, but I wouldn't be providing clients any of our 3D modeling. I do feel much more secure about the 2D orthomosaics. So I'm just going to, right up here, Solstice, I'm going to click on Vista Trails because apparently somebody named that road that a while ago, and it's still showing up in some kind of online database, but it's actually Solstice Ridge. But after we've run this, after we've finished this, we do have a download assets. One of the assets that we can download is the ortho photo. So I can actually download the 28th and the 17th, but I already have those ready for you because if I go to the 17th, there we go, download assets again, there's ortho photo. But I'm not going to torture you with exports or anything, and I'm not going to rerun this model for you. So if you are interested in learning more about WebODM, we do have a class on that at classes.azdrone.net, and it'll get you going with WebODM. But let's go ahead and minimize this, and what I'm going to do, I made a folder for myself yesterday, might be missing links. So I did run these yesterday, but let's see, there's Vista Trails and there's Solstice. I'm just going to relabel these for myself to make things a little easier. Solstice 517. 517, and this is Solstice 528. Solstice 528. And these are both TIFF files. The other thing, as we noted, they took just about the same amount of time. Let me right click on this and do a get info. There goes my info bar. And it's telling me that this file is 87.4 megabytes for May 28th. And let's take a look at the 17th, get info again. And on this one, 87 megs on the nose. So these are very similar. And one of the things that we do in our presentations is we do before and after orthomosaics. And I get a lot of questions from people on, hey, what's that cool slider in WordPress? It's the 2020 before and after slider. That's what we've been using. But we need to align these things. And one really nice thing is if you've done everything right, these are going to align very easy. So we've got Solstice 517, 528. Let's drag this down onto Photoshop. There we go. So we can align things on Photoshop to do those cool before and afters. And right up here, you will see I have two tabs, Solstice 517 and Solstice 528. They're both at 25%. So right now I'm on 528. And I'm going to label that for myself in the layer too. So Solstice 528. So these are just references for me, by the way. I'm going to click this layer. I'm going to drag it over to the other tab, and I'm just going to drop it on the center here. And now over on the right-hand side of Photoshop, we have two layers. We've got the Solstice 528. We've got the layer 0. Let's change that to Solstice 517, just so I remember where I'm at. Let's zoom that back out. And I'm going to select both of these. So there we go. They're selected. And now we're going to go up to Edit and Align the layers. And I'm going to let it do an auto align. And there we go. It's perfect now. So how do I know that we've got both of these here? Well, I'm going to go up to that top Solstice 528. So that's our most recent flight. And you can see 1 building, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 has got its rooftop on it now. If I go turn off this layer, there we go. Some major changes have happened here. So we've got, let's take a look right over here, site 42, 43, and 44. I'm going to turn that off. And now you'll see, so they got some roofing material on there. And before it was just wood on the 17th. So they're already putting some roofing material up there. And then our second one is on 517. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. Let's just get a look at that. So on 517, site number 35 didn't have a roof or anything, but let's turn on the 28th. Look at that. What a change. Also, it looks like they're starting to do some leveling on site number 36 as well. So there we go. Let's zoom this back out, or actually let's turn that back on, and I'm going to zoom out. But this is not a measurable ortho or anything. This is to show people the changes in the overall site, which is very important for the construction crews and the builders to know that they're on time, that they haven't fallen behind with anything. But just looking at this one now, we're on the 528. What I want to do is zoom in. And by the way, so I am a Photoshop user. I've been using it for years. So we've got the Solstice 517 and 528 at 25% right now. So that's how zoomed in we are. So let's zoom in a little more just so that you can see this. We're almost there, 66. Okay, so here we are at 100%. Now, we could have output this in a much larger GeoTIFF, which is just going to become a huge file. But let's say you were wanting to print this, print this wall-sized. We could do a bigger and higher quality orthomosaic. Still, we can print this at pretty high resolution as well. But just taking a look, so this is our 100% zoom. And when we're posting this online, when we're putting this in the before and after JPEGs, we're going to convert this to a JPEG and shrink it a lot more. People aren't printing off of these right now. They're just using these as a reference so that they can see what's happened on their build site, to make sure that the rooftops are getting closed up on time, that the walls are going in on time, that the newly graded sites are going to be prepped soon for concrete and everything. So that is that's the big important reason that people like to see these first before anything else. It gives them a bird's eye view of, okay, we know 2 new structures went up this week, so we're on schedule. I'm going to zoom this back out here. So we've got both of these ready to go. By the way, see how nicely they align together? So just a little cropping on the edges, different between each of them. But other than that, these things are spot on. So now that we have the images lined up, what's the next step here? Well, we're going to export 2 different images, one from 517, one from 528. So for the moment, over here on the right-hand side again, I am going to turn off the visibility on 528. I am then going to go over here and we're going to do a save as. So this is for 517. We're going to make this a JPEG. So let's go up to JPEG. There we go. And Solstice 517 JPEG, hit save. And we're going to go ahead and replace that because I tested it. All right, so we just did 517. Now we're going to click 528 on. And we're going to once again save. And save as. And we're going to make this 528. Whoops, not 29, 28. And we're going to make this a JPEG file as well. Save. And we're going to say OK to that. So now let's take a look here. And there's Solstice 528 and Solstice 517 JPEGs. So let's get a look. I'm going to open this one. So there we go. That's going to look good enough on the web presentation. And it's just filling itself in there. So that will give them a really quick overview. Now let's double check on 517 as well. It's just filling in as well. So I did neglect one thing here. I do like to put the dates on each of the sliders. So I forgot to do that in Photoshop. That's okay. I'll clean it up afterward. I'm going to quit the preview. Basically now this is just about ready to go. I could upload both of these images to WordPress, and then I could put these images into the 2020 before and after slider. So this is the first big part of when we return. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and delete these because I am going to come back here and do these at a bit of a slower pace. So I'm going to close Photoshop down. You get the idea here. I'm going to say don't save this, don't save this. And we'll just close those out for them. Or actually, we needed that folder open. So there's the orthomosaic part. So we got it ready. We prepped it in Photoshop. We aligned it. I forgot to put the labels onto it. But let's go into client data again. And you can see we've got multiple solstices here as well. So we could just be dumping all this data on the client. Once again, the presentation is very important to them. After we've done with the orthomosaics, what's our next step? Well, it's making our video flights. So as I told you, we did the ortho stills. Now we've got the videos for the solstice. First 2 videos are the flight paths that I have predefined, and I'll be working on those. We're not going to go through those all together here. While we're bouncing around there, I'm going to go ahead and stop the WebODM. Actually, I need to go here. And let's go up and go ahead and log out of WebODM. Close that. And now we've also got Final Cut setting up here. And I'm going to close Final Cut. We're going to stop the WebODM manager because we're done with it for now. So it's stopping itself. And in the meantime, let's go ahead back up to Final Cut. And let's take a look. I've got several libraries in here, not just dedicated to the Solstice project. We do have other ongoing clients, of course. So I'm going to close this one down. But what I want you to see here is on the Solstice project, we've done a lot of videos. And actually, the reason why it stops at 6 is because videos prior to that were in 2022. So I've got that whole folder for the 2022 ones as well. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to set up a flight, and let's say 12 solstice, for instance. So I'm going to import my couple of flight paths, and then I'm going to overlay them with some before and after video. So here we go. This is an older one, but this will give you an idea. So basically, there we go. We've got the flight across, and we've got some of the other buildings, the flights across here. So I'm going to replicate basically this layout in Final Cut again, but now using May 28th data. So there there's our 13 solstice on 5/17, so the most recent one. And we'll just pull this back as well and just show you through. So 42, 43, and 44. And you'll notice there was a transition there. So we updated it from a previous version to the newest version on May 17th. So in the previous version, the one that has the roof here, let's go back. Now it's just walls right there. And as it goes forward, we get the roof in. And as we continue over, we actually showcase some of the others. So basically, my next step today, after I get the orthos all squared away, is to remake this video, match it all up with those two flights, and then we'll probably put some additional fun video in there too. If I keep scrolling through this, we can see, we're going backwards from this one now, flying it along again. And there's the building that doesn't have the roof on top yet. And as we come around, there's our other buildings as well. So it doesn't all have to be time-lapse. You can do a little time-lapse to give them that feel, give them that wow factor, and then you can show them where the site is at today. So we do bounce between that back and forth regularly. Let's close Final Cut for the moment. And after that, my next big step, okay, WebODM is done, so we can go ahead and close that. And also we can, let's see here, we'll stop Docker as well. And here we go. So our last item is our still images from the job location as well, because we do like to give them still images. That way they can get a feel for the overall site and what's changing on it. So in this case of this flight, we had 46 images. And this one is, of course, in the shadow. We can touch this up, we can bring the shadows up, and we can smooth this out a good bit and make it a more compelling image than it is right now. Remember, this is all about seeing the changes in the job sites. The super pretty real estate photos, they're going to be on their way. They're going to be coming soon as some of these buildings get completed. But in the meantime, this is a construction site. This is an active construction site. So dirt's going to be in places. Rocks are going to be in places. Maybe not the most compelling visual images out there, but this is more about seeing the changes to the site. And when we get to a point where we've got completed models, of course, we're going to be going into those and then doing the higher end photo and video productions as well. Finally, just to let you know, one thing that I do not have on my screen right now are the 360 images that were shot in sites 42 and 43. Jody was shooting those. She's already processed those on her system, and she's already uploaded those to Kuula. So we will have a Kuula link in the final See My Drone or seemybuild.com. We will have a final Kuula link in there for people to view as well. So we have on several of the project locations, we have put 360s in. Not all the time, just when the clients ask us to do that. So this is it. This is the wrap up on part 2. This is the second half of what we do. So in the field, we've got ourselves out there for about an hour. And then when we come back to the office, it's a couple hours of getting everything set up. So we'll get the pages set up for them. So let's go look at April 30th, make sure that our network is okay now, and I think it is. Just waiting for it to catch up with me. There we go. So in the end, for this most recent flight on May 28th, we're going to do a page layout that looks very similar to this. We'll be using a new image from the 28th. Then we'll have the new video or videos for the clients that we do in Final Cut. And then I need to hit my refresh button really quick. There's our before and after slider, and that's from April 16th and April 30th. So, you can see those changes. The big changes that I'm noticing is concrete's poured right here, and we had concrete poured here, but then after, we've actually got some framing going up as well. So we'll fill this one in. And as you can see, there's my April 30th and April 16th. That's what I forgot to do on Photoshop before. We also do export a site model so that they can take a look around at the lay of the area. And that site model is derived from our processing with either WebODM or Metashape. And then we scroll down. Here's the latest still gallery at the time. So I'm basically going to be reproducing this page now with the most up-to-date content. And then we'll be sending the link off to the clients tomorrow. And by the way, just to let you know, I told you earlier on some of the client reactions. I've been told by the folks at Sunset Southwest Homes that for some of their capital raises and other presentations, they have been using our See My Build web pages as a big part of their presentations because it shows exactly the kind of work that they're doing on their job sites and a build project like this. So the fact that we're shooting for them every 2 weeks allows potential investors to take a look at how quickly things are moving along or how slowly things are moving along. In the case of this one, we're right on time, we're right on schedule, which is awesome. And it's great to get that feedback that this type of presentation is something most of these folks haven't seen and they want more of it. So keep in mind, we need to really show these things to folks, show people the changes, and that's part of what's going to impress them and keep them coming back to our reports for their upcoming meetings and capital raises. All right, everybody, I hope that this was an interesting second part to the series. You found it enjoyable. And if you did, be sure to like and subscribe. Also, check down in the show notes below. We do have links to our classes at classes.azdrone.net. And we actually do have a class series on building a web page like this for delivering to your clients. We'll see you again in the really near future, and I hope you guys have a great start to the summer.